Hey guys, welcome back to another Creative Shock video. I am Limelight and we have the wonderful Mr. Ree here. Mr. Ree, how are we today?
Yo, what's up, Lime, bro? I am actually super tired. I've had a tough week of work, and nothing makes me happier than sitting with you online for the next 4 hours talking about GA. So let's lock in, everyone. They got the new set coming. Lock in.
I mean, at the same time, I think that I get messages from you here and there throughout the week that's like, oh, look at this card, look at this card. So you do get very hyped. And we have had a very good spoiler season so far. I think I've revealed 100 of the 200 cards. So there's been a lot spoiled so far. Obviously, there's another 100 to go. They could be hiding some spice. But for now, we thought it would be a good kind of fun thing to pick 10 each, explain why we've picked this card and why it will be a good pick for next set. We'll get started, obviously, and yours is up first, Mystery. So we have Art of War. Of course, you stole Art of War off me. This is a very good one to pick.
Yeah, I mean, look, Divine Relic, I think it's super needed for this. The mage, you got a mage scripture here. I think it fits really nicely with the players can't declare attacks that enter this turn. So just stopping those allies, right? For classes, maybe like your Luxem builds or your Rise, and then you might talk a lot about Rye in here. A lot of those casters that we're not seeing played so much because allies are so dominant. Like this is a great card to be able to play to just if you've got a good board state, you could maintain that board state. And then also the second part of this, while paying for a memory cost, you could banish it. So now I'm versing someone who's probably not going to play allies, or I know there's not. Here's a free cost that can't really be. It's not a floating memory that could be targeted.
It's a
Like, I
GCR.
think this is a huge. Yeah, I think it's huge.
Yeah, I think that you're 100% right in regards to even if you aren't versing allies, you bring it out, and then if they're not allies, you pay a cost. Therefore, it's a pseudo GCR. You're plus zeroing still. So it's like GCR with extra steps. Some people don't like it, obviously, because GCR you can pop whenever you want. This you have to pay a material cost. If they interact with this, as in if they like reduce to ash or something like that, it's not too fun. But I do believe that a lot of decks will be picking this up, and I think they are definitely trying to slow down the meta. Is what they're trying to do next set.
I mean, we're gonna talk about this all day, but like there's some of these cards today, like I'm just like mind boggled. I feel like this recent set, I was like, okay, we're seeing clear pathway. Coming to this, I'm like, I have no idea what to expect, honestly. Like
Yeah,
there's so much.
yeah, and it's definitely like A and B. I think they did say A and B was like very beginner friendly. We're going to reprint a lot of cards. We're going to be keep it very basic. We're going to like have some keywords, and then now they've kind of thrown that to the wind, so to speak. So, Out of War is your first one. We'll move on to my first one. So I've gone with the new Kongming. The new Kongming is kind of bonkers. Old Kongming obviously was when you go north and south, draw a card. New Kongming says on enter, banish the top card of your deck. Until the beginning of your next turn, you may play it as long as your shifting currents face north. Repeat this process for east, south, and west. So what would happen is when you play this, you get to banish 4 cards. 1 for north, 1 for south, 1 for east, 1 for west. And you'll be able to play that card whenever you're in that compass angle with your shifting currents. So you're essentially drawing 4 cards.
That's wild. That is so wild.
So you're north here. So north, let's say it's a fast Q, all right? You play fast Q off and you banish. End of turn, move south. Your south card is a fireball, whatever. Plays fireball. Next turn, go to east. You play whatever. And these cards are just extra cards; they're not from your hand. So
Yeah.
I definitely think that
That is
Kongming.
crazy.
I did try to make Kongming work in A and B, and I won't lie, it was a flop. It was too slow. The win con took too long. Slimes was like rampant. You just blow up slimes, or you get milled out by Nico. I think they are trying to speed up the deck. There were some other cards that come out as well. So I think that this may speed up the deck a lot, but it also will take a lot of brain power because you're going to have to figure out how to go north, south, east, and west, and you'll be losing that north to south draw. So you won't be getting high influence like you were with the other Kongming.
Do you think you're also looking here like is glimpsing something's going to change this so you can work out what you're going to banish pre and enter? Like I'm going to glimpse and organize what I want to be played in order to have those specific banish cards.
Well, you know what's actually great with this? You're going to have a laugh. Idle Thoughts. Idle Thoughts, look at the top 4 cards of your deck. And then you can choose, because if you do that, your Idle Thoughts, level up to level. So your Idle Thoughts, you pick what's going to be, so what's the order? It goes north, east, south, west. So you can just pick what is in your north slot, your east, south slot, your south slot, and your west slot,
Correct.
and plan it 4 turns from now. It's pretty cool.
Yep.
So yeah, Idle Thought's a
that's
good
pretty well.
card. Idle Thought's a good card. So yeah, I think that's pretty good.
Here we go. This is it. So Idle Thought's a good card. You heard it here first, right, guys? Coming in when you're making your deck, be like, my mindset, Idle Thought's a good card. He's come to locals, he's gonna be ready, and someone goes like, you can play Idle Thoughts. He's like, just you wait, D.
I am excited though to see this. Last thing is that if they bring out a Kongming level 2, they have to bring out a Jin level 2, right? Surely.
Yeah, I mean, surely.
Have to.
I feel like you same thing, right? I don't think Jin came out, but it didn't impress the meta, right? It didn't do enough. So this is what they're trying to do with Kongming. Do the same thing with Jin. We want to see Jin more playable. I think there are some cards, but I mean, we talked this later, but I found it very hard to pick like the Exia cards coming out. I wasn't like, I don't think Jin's in a space where it's like a game changer. Like a lot of the cards I picked are like norm cards or material cards, and a lot of water. Like I felt were strong, and we'll look that through my decision making.
I'm calling it now. I know we're going a bit off the tail, but I'm calling it now.
Good.
Jin level 2, lineage release, stop trigger on target breastplate. Calling it. All right. Remember that, guys. Remember that.
That's a big call.
It stops your breastplate.
We still got a whole
breaking.
bunch of secrets.
All right, let's go. We're going into your next card. You've picked Censer of Restful Peace.
I just think cards and Gravel's all abilities is just a wild free 0. Like that's like Null Lantern on crack. Like what there's so much like floating memory effects, the Sea Sprite Diver. I mean, how many cards? There's a whole lot of stuff with people trying to. There's like a whole lot of new stuff around the Cinder mechanic. Would you want stuff in your
Kindle will still work because they're not losing their elements.
It will still. Yes, they'll still work, but there's a lot of stuff that varies with people wanting to put stuff in their graveyard. Is what I'm trying to say here. Not that it will still be effect. And those reasons, if they're in the grave, boom. See you later. It's a free cost.
I think it's an extra card that those decks are going to have to remove. So if you play this in Null, like they're going to have to remove the Null, remove the Sensei. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of effort.
You might sideboard. I don't. It's like it could be a game changer if whatever the meta starts playing. Like it could just stop certain cards. You know what I mean? If something's really dominant, then it could easily be a card that just slots in to stop a whole deck.
I mean, you play this turn 1 against Merlin.
Yeah.
Like what? Crave Shock Float.
Okay.
Like
yeah. Okay, good. Thanks for playing, man. Yeah.
Like use your memory to level up. Like the only thing is, and the interesting thing you might see Merlin's running this card because it says cards in graveyard lose all abilities. Merlin level 2 checks float in the banishment. So what would actually happen is if Merlin eats a float and it moves to banish, it'll actually see its float and you will get a level counter. Interesting little ruling for us. So you could see Merlin's actually running this and then just eating all the float that's stuck there because the float will be locked in their graveyard then because they can't get it. So you get it. It's very, very cool. So yeah. All right, moving on. I went with Frostbitten etui. I think it's etui. That's a very weird word to try and say.
Yes, as the Australians say, it's UI.
Eat UI. Consider it costs Water Regalia item Cleric Bauble. It is a level 2 plus banish Frostbitten etui. Negate all on-enter triggers from target ally you don't control unless its controller pays 3. So
I was torn with this card. I just thought the 2+ was rough.
But you don't have to play it at 2+.
Yeah.
You can play it early. You can Quicksilver Grail it. Put this under a QSG, and then when they dungeon guide, you slap this out. Make them pay 6 for a dungeon guide.
No.
Yeah. So I think, although you're right, level 2 is a bit rough, but I think the only decks that will be running this are like the Water Cleric, the Water Eye, Water Mage Control, maybe like the Water Merlin. And even then, like the way you can think of it is you play this in Water Merlin, you sit on the board, they never play it on enter because they know you've got it, and then you just Pendragon it back anyway. Draw 2.
Yeah, and you're thinking too, like if you're playing a slow, like an allied building deck, like a wind allied deck, and it's just sitting on the field, they're not going to have much to get rid of it. Like they're not going to have it. They will not have anything in their deck to counter it. It's just going to sit there, and you just sit there for those niche moments. Like, no, I'm going to use it now. See you later, and it just stops play. You know, and then if you Quicksilver, you could do Quicksilver in the first set, and then second game, if you end up winning, you sideboard that thing bad boy out. You start mind gaming the player, right?
Hey,
and they're
mate,
like, "Oh,
when
I
we used
can't."
to play, when we last played, you would put the I'm not going to swear, I nearly swear. You put the frickin' Imperial Mandate under the Quicksilver
Yeah.
Grail. And every time I went to draw my 8th or 9th card, I can't remember exactly what number it was, you go, pop Quicksilver Grail, Imperial Mandate. So this, I can see you with this in your deck going, pop Quicksilver Grail. I can see it, envision it. And not to mention, right, you make them pay 3 and then you frostbind it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and then you're paying what's the dismissal, whatever one that's like pay 4. Like
that's going to be pay 5 at that point. So yeah, I think it's good. We'll see. Obviously, it might be too slow. That is the downfall. I honestly could see it could have been a 1 cost. It probably makes it worse, obviously. But I think because it's 0 cost, it's insane. All right, we're going to move into allies. Some more not allies, but main deck cards. So you went with Kingdoms Divide. I was a bit upset you picked this one because I liked this one too.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a 1 cost. All right, if I'm level 2, it's a floating memory, and for 1 cost, I can choose a card name until the beginning of your next turn. Cards with the chosen name cost 2 more to activate. This is massive, dude. If you know they're going to try for a level up, you're just going to name their champion. They pay 2 more for that.
You can't name
champions. Well, name a card like a playable card. Just a 2 cost play. That's crazy, right?
The funny thing is, though, is you picked a card later. There's a card you're going to look at later that says look at your opponent's hand and memory, right?
Oh yeah.
So
crazy.
I was playing a deck with both these cards where you would play that card, look at their hand and memory, and then you play this card and you go, oh, what's their best card that they would play here? And you just name it.
Yeah, dude. I just think this is
once
crazy.
Again, my devil's advocate to you will be it's level 2 float.
Yeah, it is. That sucks.
That's rough.
I think it's a 1 card. Like, think of the what's that? The card that's similar to this, right? That's in the game. It's not played as much, Nia, but that's a 3 cost, and it does benefit the champion. You can name any card, like you said.
Yep.
But still, this is a 1 cost to do that.
And
like,
float.
That is
essentially essentially at the end it will be float.
Yeah, and if you really are good at the game, like we're talking like not all combination of cards. If a meta starts to build, right? So I know what decks are playing. I know what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I know that next term they're building for a lethal point. Like, that's when I'm going to throw this card down.
You're exactly right with what you're saying, that this is a skill gap card. The best player in the world versus an average player will decimate someone with this because they will know exactly what deck your opponent's on and what lines that need to be played, and they'll play this card to slow those lines down. So yes, you're right.
Correct.
This will be played in decks like control decks once again, Water Dao-Chan, Water Mage, maybe in some fire decks as well. This card is definitely huge. Like, if it's like they Dungeon Guide this turn, I'm screwed, right? So you name Dungeon Guide, and even if they don't have it, it doesn't matter. It's float. Like, you're not losing anything.
Yep.
So,
and even like you probably wouldn't run 4. I wouldn't say you'd run like those ones where it's like it's just
2 or 3.
Just to have. I don't know. Yeah, right. It's just like just to have, and then you throw it's spanner in the works, which can throw a whole person's play.
Only an uncommon too. Very strong for uncommon card. All right. Well, I went with Coiled Fatestone. So this is our first double face card. I did try and make them the same size. I couldn't do it, so I gave up. Sorry, guys.
Good. That's nice. Well done.
All right.
Ooh,
so
it's telling it printed, by the way. No.
Coiled Fatestone is a 2-cost fire Fatestone. On enter, discard 2 cards at random. For each fire card discard this way, draw a card. Okay. Rest it, pay 1 as a spell, deal 1 damage to each champion, put an age counter on Coiled Fatestone. Then if you have 3 or more age counters on Coiled Fatestone, remove all of them and transform it. So, and obviously it's a 3/3, 2 costs, your opponents can't recover. So Windar Asana, cry your heart out. This is great versing that. Now, the reason why I put this here is not because your opponents can't recover, although that is great, into Luxem, into Windari, etc., also into North Merlin. The big thing here is on enter, discard 2 cards at random. For each fire element card, discard this way, draw a card, right? If you have 2 float in your hand, and that's it, 2 fire float, it's a +2. You're getting draw 2, and you're getting 2 float.
You're saying if you just
very rare.
The last cards you have in your hand, they have 2, and you're gonna
It's very rare to get a +2 in this game. Very hard to get. Icebound Slam was one of the ones that got like +4, and that's why it's now banned.
Stop, don't, man. It's too soon, man. Please, dude.
And like at the same time, like there's obviously not that much fire float in the game compared to other float. They kind of lowered the fire float, but if you can like make a deck that can kind of get you to discard 2 fire float and draw 2 cards, this card is very strong, and it's not unique either, so you can play multiple of them. And even if you only get one, like it's a Crave Shock.
Yep.
So yeah, I think this is insane. Not even for the Cobra, pretty much. All right, moving on. What have we got next? We got your double-sided card. I hate this card. This card's very annoying to deal with.
Yeah, I just think it's wonderful. I mean, you've got a card here that when you put it down, it's 4 costs, which I think is heavy. But whenever an opponent materials a card with memory cost 0, put a buff counter. Right, you only have to get 2 counters. I believe there's other cards in the deck surely that will increase the counter.
Yeah,
but then it flips, and the opponent can't material cards with a memory cost of 0. Like, you get this out turn 1. Like, this is a great. Can't be Spell Shroud. I'm assuming the buff again. We haven't talked much about it, but the buff counters stay on it. So if I get 2, it's a 4/4.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So it's a 4/4, which is a very strong ally, and now you can't materialize cost 0. Like, that is huge.
Yeah. So
like, I think it's so massive.
Had a game, I versed this. They brought out turn 1. I played backup charger, thinking like, okay, I'll give it a counter. Like 1 counter's fine, whatever. They then played I don't know the name of the card. You can write in the comments. It's like give 2 fate stones a buff counter. Gave it a buff counter, flipped it, and I was like, okay, like it's not a big deal, right? Go into level 1, etc. But then you come to realize that like your decks are built to have 0 cost regardless, because you don't want to lose influence. So. And I was playing Dao Chan, obviously, at the time. I've been cooking a lot of Dao Chan. The only way I can deal with this card is by refracting Shimmering Refraction, which is a spell. So I can't deal with it. It's got Spell Shroud. So there's like no option to get rid of it other than like the Wither Season's End combo, which is like turn 8. So it's just swinging at you for 4 every turn. And like this card is very strong. And I think that if you can't deal with it quickly, it's really troublesome. But at the same time, it is an item. These cards are items. So I think they're like burn to ash, not reduced to ashes.
Well, this is about the meta, how the meta changes. Like, I feel there's a lot of cards that destroy fate stones or interact with fate stones. Like, this is where we start talking about like this card's really powerful off the cusp right now. We're talking about it
in a vacuum bag,
correct. Well, but then if people start countering fate stones so much, this is what about. I think it's really cool right now, right?
Yeah.
Then they start to counter fate stone. Then they've got to counter floating. You've also got this whole Fantasia meta. You got to candle Fantasias.
It's how the triangle forms.
Yeah, and then you while you're working like this, you've got Corinne, and we're going to see the champion. We're going to play Fire Aggro, and everyone's going to be like, what, and this is good, man. This is good. I don't want to see no warm water. You know what I'm saying?
It's healthy. It's healthy. So it's healthy. And like, that's what you want. You do want a healthy meta, and like this card is very strong, although it is a 4 cost, you're right. I think other than turn 1, turn 2, like it's going to sit in your hand. You're not going to play this like turn 4. Like it's too late by then, right? But yeah, I think you're right. And I think that you can't beat everything, and that's a good thing in a game. Because, like as you said, you break this, Merlin gets good, etc. So, all in all, good pick. I think this is a great card. I think that obviously just late game it falls off, but that's fine with me, to be honest.
Yeah.
All right, I went with it's one of my favorites. This is one of my favorite arts too. So, 2 cost, Firebloom Flourish. It is a Fantasia cleric spell, so it goes in the Fire Dao Chan. I think you played Fire Dao Chan in our last Battlegrounds.
Yeah, but this card wasn't announced yet, I don't believe.
Class bonus at the beginning of your recollection phase, deal 1 damage to target champion. So every turn it deals 1 to target champion. So you can choose yourself or you can choose your opponent. At the beginning of your end phase, if your influence is 4 or less, draw a card into your memory and put a glimmer counter on your champion. So this card is insane because your whole thing with Dao Chan is to build fractals and Fantasias, and then to take advantage of that by dealing damage based on Fantasias. Your influence will be low most of the time. I did get caught. I was playing Fire Dao Chan today. I did get caught having 5 cards one turn, and it ruined my whole turn because I couldn't gain a glimmer. I was stuck at 1 glimmer. It was a rough time. I had a very intense game today, actually, with a Fire Guaja. I ended up winning just by like the touch, like the very little bit. It was very close. I'll have to tell you about that later. But this card is like the card for Fire Dao Chan. Like you revolve your deck around this. So you're playing this, you're dealing a damage, you're bringing out your Everflame Staff, you're getting a counter, you're setting up some big combos to try and deal a lot of damage in a turn. and then you're not worried about losing influence and playing cards because you're refilling with this. And it's not unique, Jack. So you're getting, if you have 2 of these out, you just draw
Wow.
2.
Yeah, that's right. That's crazy. That's not unique.
So like thinking about it, like why don't you run 4 Rokokos in the deck and just play Rokokos, deal 3 damage, draw back up, play another Rokoko. You know what I mean? Like how crazy is that?
Fire looks wild, man. There's some wild stuff going in the fire decks. Like,
Yeah, I've been very excited for Fire Dao Chan, and this card is like the reason why. I just like the artwork. I want a foil of it too. Like she looks really cool in it. Like based on artwork, there's like fire in the background. Everything's on fire. Seems like she's like
so
set a whole kingdom
everybody
on
who
fire.
watches Creative Shop content and you're looking for a quick sale that's going to be big, this is the card you want to get as a foil.
Yeah,
Hit him up 3 times the price it's worth.
yeah.
He'll buy
Look, it is a foil. It is sorry, it is a SR, so it will be a foil
Oh.
SR. So it will not be cheap at all.
Yeah.
All right, what have we got next? We have Zhang Jiao, Way of Peace. This card was one of the ones I would have picked too, but you stole it off me.
Again, I just think this is one. I had to clarify on the rules here, but I mean, you've got a 3-cost here, and if you have, 2 reversal fantasias, so you can pay it down, or 3, reverse 3 down, I get a 2 draw straight off the bat.
Plus ones, yep.
That's yeah, crazy, right? Just like the recover glimpse. I mean, there's a bit of flexibility. I don't know the 7 or more. I mean, it just has so much flexibility here. But I saw the 2 cards. If you're using that influence, you're burning to build, and then you're like, bam, here's 2 more cards. That's crazy. 2 draw for a 3.
The strength of this is the flexibility 100%. I think the chance of getting the draw 2 is very low. I don't think you're going to be getting that often. I think most of the time you will be getting the glimpse 4. I mean, I guess you get the like a recover 4. It's very toolboxy in the way that like if you play this first in your turn, you recover 4. If you play the second in your turn, you glimpse 4. In Windari, like Astra Ari, glimpse 4 is insane. Especially if you are playing Wind, you could potentially run Reclaim. You can bounce this back to your hand. You can Zephyr this. So you get to do it over and over again. There's also combos where, like, for example, you can have this on the board and 5 cards down, for example, and you can displace this on their turn, flicker it, 7 cards down, they lose a card from memory, they can't level up. Because card from memory. So like if they've got like if they've got like 1 card down for level 1 and you can somehow like just slam your whole hand down, get 7 down and play this, and they lose that 1 card from memory. Like, sure, you're losing a card too, but if you're both losing a card, it's like a pseudo +0, right? In regards to how it works. Sure, her stats are very bad, and she's a unique ally. And the decks that want to play her probably don't want to play her because, like, current meta, Windari would play her, but Windari runs no allies currently because she wants to wipe the board. You could honestly see this in unique Wind allies, which is a bit wild to think about, but it's a 3-cost. It balances Gildas. You glimpse or recover 4. Which is like nothing to scoff at as a Wind Allies player. So it's very interesting to see. This one I would say it's not broken. You're not going to see it in every deck. It's very niche. You might see it in like 1 or 2 specific decks, but it just depends if like it finds its spot or not. That's how I feel about it.
I think like just the first time we talk about like game changers like this, the way the cards build up here, like with 0, 1 to 3, 4 to 6. That's the first card it's done.
Yes,
like that's cool. They're experimenting here, right? They're playing. There's a lot of that too, which maybe next we could do a video of all the different mechanics that are coming out.
It does remind me of Hearthstone Druid cards, where like you played Hearthstone before, Mystery, obviously. Druid had
Blizzard, love it. There you go.
Druid's whole thing was choose one, right? And you'd have like choose one, this or this. So this is like the choose one of this game, where it's like choose one. Like if you've had this much memory, that much memory, and you obviously can't do that with Magic because you've got lands down at all times. So very interesting card to bring up, to be honest. All right. I brought up Lavaplume Fatestone. I did not get the. I think it's a Phoenix out. I didn't actually get the side card.
What's the other side, man?
This card. Look.
You had hours, man, for production.
This card.
Creative shock is on the line, man.
This card was not used when I died today to this. By the way, I'm a bit salty about this card. When I died to this today, they did not transform it. So you know what? It doesn't need the side card. This is, Jack, a Fireball in Tamer. So 2 cost, Lavaplume Fatestone. It is a Tamer Fatestone, obviously. Fast activation, so you can play it on my turn. On enter, as a spell, deal X unpreventable damage to target unit, where X is the amount of other Fatestone or Fatebound objects you control.
So this includes the stone that they get turn 1.
The crag back, if you want.
Craig back. Like any of the allies I'm already playing, and then also I'm guessing there's be materials that are fatestones, right?
Correct.
Well, that come and sit on the board.
So he on my turn played Lavaplume Fatestone, responds to on enter of the first Lavaplume Fatestone, Lavaplume Fatestone, and dealt like 9 damage to me or whatever it was.
Oh, he doubled, man.
Yeah, and I felt like it was like, you know, it was Mill and Fireball all over again, to be honest.
Dude, it's fire season, man. Like, and then I'm sure, hopefully my card's next. Like, put that card with this.
Are you hyped for a card? Is there a certain card you're waiting for?
I'm saying now with this and that, like, I think this is what we're going to be seeing playing, dude.
Let's have a look. I'm about to click it. Bang. Dao, Qiao, Cinder, Binder. Is this the one you were talking about?
No, the other one. Right. But this one I like.
Read this one out. This one's busted too.
This one's cool. This is like a unique ally 3 cost. Allies with frenzy counters on them don't obey the controller. So as you choose one, you can tap it and put a counter on a target ally, or you can empower X or X the amount of allies on the field with frenzy counter on them.
This card is insane. Insane. Yep. This one is one to look out for because allies with frenzy counters on them don't obey their controller, so they're turned off, right? Like you can retaliate with them. It's like they have Pride 10, for example, right?
Yeah.
The problem with this card is if she dies and you summon another one of her, they still have the frenzy counters. They don't lose them. They're still stuck.
They don't remove. Yeah, that's so true.
Like sure, she's a 0-4, but like if you can get her down, turn 2, and you can rest her and turn off an ally, and then they try to kill her, and you can like escape the wreckage, or you can block, and then you rest her and you take care of that ally. All of a sudden, there's just going to be a board of nothingness that they can't do anything, and then she just sits there, and you just start empowering, right? Yeah. Not to mention, I didn't even read the second part. You
have to mention you got red hair, right? Because she's a Yuke ally, right? Red hair is on here, smacking, you down to like, I'm not caring about this target right now. I'm dealing with red hair, right? Like I'm dealing with Arthur that's on the board. Like I don't. This is a 1/5 with whatever. Like what? What are we doing here,
guys? Not to mention though, Empower X, where X is the amount of allies on the field with a frenzy counter on them.
Yeah, exactly.
So like what? There's like 3 on the field. You just empower 3 Fireball for 7.
This is insane. And like I just think like, a 3 cost to stop just to stop a unit. See you later. You can't do it. You can't do anything with that.
This is going to be a hot take, right? This is a better Dream Fairy because at least Dream Fairy sends it back to your memory so you can pay for a cost. This thing locks it on board.
And you can reactivate it. You can do it every turn.
Yep. And like wait for like if they bring out like a card that wakes up, like a fire card that can wake up an ally, then it's going to get worse. So yeah, this card is very strong.
So you tap it and then you can wake it up and re-tap it. That's what I was saying.
And it's fast speed. You can do it on their turn, so you can just wait to see what they play and then just rest it. So obviously the only thing is like frenzy counter and taunt. You still have to hit a taunt. Frenzy counter on intercept. I believe you have to. I'm pretty sure intercept still works through. I don't think it does. I don't think you can intercept through frenzy, but you can taunt. Taunt is a static effect. You can't stop a taunt.
What about like? There's all these big out. Like a lot of Tamer decks are going to bring these like. Yeah, there's so many like just big hitters or allies that like it just stops that. Like I'm not going to use it on like you said like a low. I'm going to use it on a big dude that's going to be.
But if you want to talk if you want to talk meta mystery, like this turns off all the big beasts. Gets through Spell Shroud.
Yeah, correct. That's what I mean. Just like. No, like this whole thing about the big tiger and the big
dragon. Okay. It's like okay.
I don't give a man.
Go to sleep. Go to sleep.
But yeah, it just doesn't obey them too. Can they do abilities with that? Like that's not very clear as well.
They can't.
They can't even do like they summon the dragon. They can't do the empower like any of the effects.
No, especially because the dragons. He's done. He's done, guys. This thing is set him off. Too strong. Ban it. Hashtag ban Darkwell. Cinderbiner.
Hashtag ban. Change the video title, dude. Hashtag ban Cinderbiner, dude. Yeah. Oh, well, I know when I'm not playing. I'm not playing anything to do with these beasts, dude.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Let's move on to something a little less broken. Let's go. Yeah. I love this card. This card was like the MVP for me today. So this came out yesterday of recording. So 2 cost Searing Rebuke. Cleric spell reaction, can play it from my memory on my turn. Prevent the next 3 damage that would be dealt to your champion this turn. Whenever
So
damage is
massive.
prevented this way, deal 3 damage to target champion you don't control. Now, if we start thinking about combos in regards to dealing 1 damage to, so when I take 1 damage, the enemy hero will take 3, enemy champion will take 3. So one of these can do 9 damage technically if you time it right. So every time I block a damage, they take 3. Okay.
Yeah.
So 1/1/1 is 3/3/3 for them. Okay. So if we look back at the card from before, I can't remember its name now. My brain's a blank, but it deals 1 damage to a target champion at my recollection step.
Yeah.
I can technically play this prereq, deal 1 damage to myself, deal 3 to them.
Oh, what?
2 still on the stack.
That's
Play
like
a
the
Fractal of
Tamer Stone is.
Sparks.
Oh,
Rest,
use that, but yeah,
Rest Fractal of Sparks, deal 1 damage to myself, deal 3 to them. Play a Fractal of Sparks, rest it, deal 1 damage to me, deal 3 damage to them, etc.
And there's a lot. There's more than that too, isn't there? Stuff
Yeah.
too that deal 1 damage to me and 1 damage to you.
Inzali does 1 to everything as well. And then the Fire Guaja every turn does 1 damage to both people.
What?
So
This one's even like this is.
This card's insane. This card's very strong, especially when you think about allies. Most allies are 2/3s. So one of these, on average, would take 6 damage back to the Wind Allies player.
Like so, our next training grounds game, we need to do maybe just a Night of Fire. Like you fire. Yeah. Like this is crazy. Like,
you're right. I also think that
some sick combos.
Yeah, I also think you could potentially like make a whole deck around this card. Like this card is very. This card is like it's a pseudo peaceful at times. Like if you have a board of allies, let's say you're playing Pfizer, and I play this card at the start of your turn, are you going to take 9 damage or even 6 damage? Like you're not, right? So like you just have to pass. And then by me playing this card, I get my influence down to 4. I'm going to draw back anyway. So am I losing anything from this? No, I'm just gaining influence forever. I'm forever at 5 cards.
Even like, I don't know, there's so many fire cards that like deal damage to yourself. You can just in 1 turn put down a strong ally that does the, there's like, this ally does like 4 damage, but you'll take 1. Like, I don't give a fuck. Now I'm doing 7 damage in a turn. Like turn 2 kill is like is actually like it's only 2 cost here, yeah?
Yeah.
Like 2 of these, right? Like you're playing like it's
also if you're thinking of Everflame Staff says whenever you deal fire damage from a spell card, get a counter. At 4 counters, release Everflame, deal 4 damage, right? If they pop this 1/1/1, you're getting a counter each time because it's dealing 3 fire damage from a spell card. Cool story. I had a really epic game today. I'll say it while we're on this card quickly. So I versed a Fire Guaja today. It was an aggro Fire Guaja, and I was playing my Fire Dao Chan for the first time. I was on like 8 life, something like that. I was on like 5 life. They dealt like 3 unpreventable damage to me. I played Searing Rebuke. It didn't hit it, obviously, so I was sad. But at the Fire Guaja's prereq, the Fire Fatestone says deal 1 damage to both champions. So I blocked the 1. They took 4. They played Suzaku's command, which is give your beast +4 damage and unpreventable, +4 and unpreventable, and swung at me for 8 unpreventable, right? So it put me to 8 damage, right? I had 8 life. Sorry, I took 8 damage. Then they cremated their Phoenix, which brings it back to life again, right? And then played Suzaku's command again, and they did 8 unpreventable again, right? Which was like 16 damage. I was going to die either way, right? So I thought I was dead. I'm like, okay, it's dead. I need to do 6 damage somehow. I'm like, how do I do this? So I had a Fractal Sparks Awake, which is deal 1 damage to target champion, right?
Yeah.
So I rested it. I dealt 1 damage to myself, which dealt 3 damage to him because I had this out. And then I played a Shimmering Refracting for 4 for exact lethal while waiting for the 8 unpreventable to come in. And it was one of those games where I sat there and like I told Amy when she got home, I was so excited. I'm like, I'm so proud of myself. I was like, that was cool. I was like, that was cool, man. I was in like dire straits. I was dead to the world. And I somehow, I thought, like, it took me like, I never think on my turns. I took like a minute just looking at my hand going, okay, I'm dead. I'm like, wait a minute. Fractal Sparks hit myself, deal 3, fracting myself dead. And I was, like those little things like that and being able to have like those kind of synergies, I guess, and those kind of things happening now in the game is amazing. Yeah. So yeah, very interested to see how it goes. I mean, it could just fall over to other aggro, but I think Fire Dao Chan may become an aggro deck. All right, what we got next for you? Whoa, slow down, cowboy.
I mean, we've talked about this red hair. I think it's crazy that it is a horse, but I digress. I mean, 2 cost 3/3. If you've got a unique human ally, which we've seen it with Korean Training Grounds, with Arthur comes out, it's a 4 damage card here. It's also coming online. You can swing because of the Pride 3 ignore, and you're discarding and draw. Like you're floating out a lot of tempo
I
and does
think
big damage.
this card sucks.
You're wrong.
I think
You're
you
wrong, man.
I think you wasted a spot
No, I don't think I did.
just because for a card to be good based on another card. Like, okay, what's better, this or the freaking Cinder Binder? Tell me.
Okay, the Cinder Miner, dude. But we're here to list 20 cards here, okay? The Cinder Binder is the top, man. But now you're saying what's better, the Cinder Binder and the red hair on the field, bro? Because it's a unique ally, yeah?
Dream Fairy.
I don't give a fuck about Dream
That's one
Fairy.
thing. No, what
are you Dream Fairy? What are you Dream Fairy? My unique ally?
Oh, which
Or
one
my
would you
Arthur?
pick? Oh, that's a hard choice.
What about, are you doing Arthur or Cinder Binder or red hair? What are you dealing with here?
Oh, that's a
'Cause
hard choice.
You have
That's a
no
hard
allies on the
choice.
board because I'm destroying everything that's coming on the field, right? Like
I think you have to pick. I think you have to pick red hair.
Yeah,
Does that make it? Does that mean it's a good card? Nah, surely not.
Yeah, I think that does, right? Like it just synergizes so well with the cards in fire. That's what I'm saying, man. It's synergizing.
I think actually in Guaja, Fire Guaja, this is a good card because you do eventually go to 3.
Yeah.
I think decks that go to level 3 make it better. I think that sure, I got clapped on Battlegrounds and Training Grounds, sorry, and maybe I'm a bit salty from that. But I'm not gonna say it's good. I'm not gonna say it's good. I'm gonna say it's mediocre. I think that compared to Dilu and compared to Shadowmare, it's the worst of the 3. Although it's very interesting they picked Fire or Terra Element unique human ally. So I wonder like what Terra deck would run this.
Some horse master.
Well, no, I think Lubu. I don't know the lore. Chat, don't make fun of me if I make this wrong. Pretty sure Lubu's horse is red hair. So and Lubu is a Terra unique human ally. So maybe they chucked Terra in there because Lubu is a Terra.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Unique.
Yeah. I've tried to read that card a few times.
It's too much text. All right, this one I'm going to disagree with, but we'll move on. All right, I went with. Oh no, we went yours again. Never mind. You got 2 in a row, mate. Here you go. Get another one. Enjoy.
This one. Well, like, hello. 2 costs here from a cleric or mage. Target player reveals your choice of their hand or memory, and they choose a card among the revealed and discard it. Like that's a huge tempo destroyer, man, for a 2 cost. Destroying quick cards for 2 cost. That destroy influence, destroys combination of play. I back this up, drop 2 of these. Like they're trying to do a play. Like, wow, it's slow, but you can pre and stop just a whole motion of plays here.
You know what I want to know? How many cards is there a character holding Mnemonic Charm? Because I'm pretty sure that's another Mnemonic Charm, right? They always hold one. Look, I was very upset. I brought this to my friends, and I was like, "This card is insane. It's like Thoughtseize. Obviously, it's a little bit worse than Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize is a Magic card, guys." They said it was bad. I think it's very good. I think the fact that I also learned later on from like the rulings that when I play this, like if I'm versing you and I play this, and I say Extricating touch response, you can't wait for me to pick. You have to decide what you want to do before I pick. So if I pick hand, you can't just put your hand down and play something. So it becomes like a mind game field where it's like I play Extricating touch response, and you go, all right, I'm going to put my 3 good cards in my memory, and he'll think that they're in my hand, and I'll crave shock, and then let's see what he picks. And then I'm like, okay, did he put his good cards in his memory or his good cards in his hand? So it becomes like a bit of chicken where did you put the good cards, where did you put the bad cards? But even like either way, if the whole hand's down and you see Dungeon Guide, you can get rid of the Dungeon Guide, or you can Kingdom's Divide, the card you showed earlier, and you can name a card that's in their hand for next turn. So yeah, I think that this card can see a lot of play. I don't think it's a 4 of though, Jack. I think it's maybe like a 2 or 3 of. But yeah, I think that is probably where I sit with it at the moment.
I just think it's like it just throws off. Like you just anticipating when playing as a water deck that this could be here. If I'm playing cleric and mage,
Yep.
Like I have to now think about what I'm putting down even more.
Yes.
What I, like, or I have to, or hold stuff in my hand, knowing that this could come up and I have to drop it, like you said, and put a creative. Like that's a whole level of thinking that's out there just to annoy. Let alone, I'm also now worrying about the other card, which is like, hey, if they're gonna make me name a card because they're gonna see all my hands, like what the, you know what I mean? Like this
Yeah.
is like, and this is what we're talking about that skill cap. New players, it's like, oh, but there is a lot to this. Like I think that is there.
My
I think it's
debate
a crazy
was
card.
the debate was on Discord for the people that do jump on Discord. The debate was that you play this into a wind allies. Wind allies don't care. They're just going to swing at you. They don't care what you see, what you don't see. Where I was saying, like, this turns off balance. You can pick the good allies to get rid of. They normally have their whole hand down. I think it's good into allies, but the debate was, a big debate about whether it was or wasn't good into allies. But yeah, either way, I think it'll be an expensive card. I think that this will see a lot of play. I think you maybe see 2 to 3 of it, and it will sit in that deck with that like control mage, control cleric deck.
Yep.
All right, we have this card. This is a very interesting card. So, 4 cost, Acquisizing Rejection is a water card. It is a cleric spell reaction, so it can be played from memory with Dao Chan. This card costs 1 less to activate, so it can become a 3 cost. Negate target card activation you don't control unless its controller has you draw 2 cards. Banish this card that had its activation negated this way. So negate or draw 2, Mr. E.
Yeah, I think this is a wonderful card. I think it's just a wonderful card. I think it's super interesting. It's changing the way people think about negates. But I'm paying now to decide if drawing 2 for you is going to benefit you. And I think it also fits well with the, you're paying down cards to build your board with water with your Fantasias. Now I'm also draw 2. Like, yeah, it's a hard choice. It's not as punishing. You're not sitting there holding to pay and making the decision. You're deciding you don't know what the other person's wanting. You don't know why they want 2 cards, and then you've got to make that call.
It's a +1 or a +0. Most of the time, like a good player and like people will learn to obviously use it properly. You will pick this at the most value part of a turn. So like you're going to play that Cragstone, right? If I play this, you're probably going to let me draw 2 because you want that Cragstone out. You want to get those counters on it. But then there's been many occasions in practice so far with players that I'll play this. They'll let me draw 2 because it is an important card, but then I'll play another one, and they're like, okay, well, like at what point is my card valuable? I've never had someone let me draw 4 cards. It's always been draw 2, yes, draw 2, no, and I always say to them, why did you let me draw 2 in the first place if you're going to negate it anyway?
I think you have to double down, man. You can't. I'm sorry. It's just that's how it is, bro. Is everyone letting you draw 2 and 4, man?
Correct.
You might as well just scoop. You might as well scoop, man.
Correct.
That's
correct.
You just paid a 3 cost card.
I think that it's hard. It's hard because like every time that negate comes out, you're evaluating the value of the card you're playing. But the more, if like I play 2 of them, the value just starts to outweigh it. But then that's how the punishment happens, because if you just negate it the first time, I wouldn't have +1 for no reason. So I think card's very good. I think card is a little bit of a early card game. You want to play it early. You want to make them let you draw cards early on important moments. Late game, if you're going to ravishing me for 36 and make me mill 70 and I play this, you're going to let me draw 50 cards. You don't give a damn. You're just going to kill me. So if like I'm in lethal range and you have the winning card, you're going to let me draw, obviously. So late game's not as good. But yeah, I think this card is definitely one to look out for, and it's also in the recollection. So you're probably going to place it. You don't have to buy this card, which is great. Unlike Cerulean Decree, which is now $30, $40. So, all right. I wonder if it's going to go double you, double me now. No. Ooh, interesting one, Jack.
I was trying to find cards like reading today. So this was a negate card activation unless this controller plays X, where X is the amount of Fantasia you control. 2 cost, not a bad negate. And very quickly with Fantasia water decks, you could probably easily get to 4 or 5 negate cost here. A 2 and 5 negate is massive. There's no already you've seen we've already playing with those water decks. By turn 1, you could have 2 fractals down, or 1. Turn 3, you have 3 down. You now have a 2 cost 3 negate.
Or you could get red-haired and then you don't get to do anything.
True. Yeah, the game's also over by the point when you get fired.
But, I think that this comes back down to like the vacuum bag thing we were saying earlier. In a vacuum bag, this card is amazing. In a world where you either don't draw Fantasias or people are running Scatter Essence, which I think Scatter Essence will be running rampant because Dao Chan is now a thing. Had a game against Wind Guaja. They scattered 3 of my fractals. I had no fractals. this card was literally dead in my hand. Like it was horrible. So like, vacuum sealed, it's amazing. I will say it is a win more.
Yeah.
It is a win more card. If you're ahead, this is good. If you're behind, this is bad.
But I think again, we're talking about this vacuum bag. Like this is if you run a proper Fantasia deck, you're going to play a lot of Fantasias. And yes, if they're running Shattered, but again, there are so many other things we're talking about here that they're going to. That's what like we talk. There's so much of variations of decks in a healthy meta, and that you can play this card gets more. If it becomes dominant by one, like if
Then it comes
Fantasias
up.
quickly become dominant, then it becomes up, right? Like it's like trying to think of stuff right now. Like you look at all the water counters, right? Like everything was ice bounce. Everyone started playing all these intercept allies.
Yeah.
And they started playing in their decks to counter that. Like they're gonna run like even what do you call it with there was more Fantasia counters coming out now because it is dominant. But if Tamers are dominant right now and there's all this aggro fire, like I'm not running this card into an aggro fire deck, bro. If everybody's coming down to my town and killing me turn one, I don't give a about this card. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like see you later. Like it's
The
not in
beauty
there.
of
So
trading cards.
then I'm snooking in like his little look at my fractal deck, you know what I mean? And then I'm
Yeah.
like, you love it. And I'm calling it. You'll be playing this deck because you hate playing the meta. This won't be. And you'll be like, oh, I'll be cooking. Next minute you're coming in top
You know
8,
me
bro.
too
Like
well.
because like I just don't you can't be and I think there's so much variation that I just think it's gonna sneak in there.
If you know me well enough, you're right. Like I never play meta. I will make a deck and then it will do well, and then people potentially will jump on it, and I'll jump off it. So you are right. Like I always like to push my brain to figure out how to beat something instead of playing something. Other than this season, I won't be what's the word for it? Ironic. Like this season, I played Nico. Played Nico. I won some events. Look, I was lazy this season. I was like, I can't beat Nico. It was unbeatable. Whatever, I'll play it. But yeah, no, I think you're right. I think you're 100% right. I wonder how many we have left. I'm just gonna keep clicking and hopefully. Oh yeah, this is my card. This card is crazy. So this card has they're creating Watermill Assassin. So nope, you're not milling yourself. You are milling your opponent. This is classic Magic the Gathering mill. You are just milling them out. You don't care about it. This card is the engine for that deck. This is what you want. So 3 cost Delusional Vapors. Class bonus Prepare 2. Target opponent puts the top 8 cards of their deck into their graveyard. Then if Delusional Vapors was prepared, whenever that opponent draws a card this turn, they put the top 4 cards from their deck into their graveyard. So even not in Assassin deck, you can play this for 3 and you can mill 8 off an opponent, which is already insane. Like that's crazy, right? You could probably run this in Scam. Like it's insane. But the cool thing that happens, I versed an Assassin mill the other day. He brought out a Bauble of Abundance. He played this. He popped Ball of Abundance, so I've milled 12. I recollect and draw. I'd mill another 4. I've milled 16 cards this turn. And that's like it was like what, turn 6 or 7. So I had 15, maybe 18 cards left from my deck. From there, Sudden Deluge or another one of these, you're just done. Like you just milled out. It's so easily milled out. And what works amazing with this mystery is the Censer card you put up at the start just turns off everything that you mill. It's all just garbage. There's nothing in there. I think that's a face. That's a face of a guy who wants to try it right now. I saw your face. You're like, oh, this is good. This is looking good.
I was thinking that card that makes you infinitely draw until you find something. They're not cards
they're searches though. They're not draws. They're not draws. They're searches. But if you imagine this into a Rye deck, where a Rye Arcane Dispositions to draw 3, you play this. They mill what, 20 cards? And also Merlin every second turn will draw 2. So this card is very strong. There was another card I tried to fit in. Obviously didn't have the space for it, but there was another card
that's cool. I like this one.
There was another card that was Surveil the Winds but water, which was Deluge 4, gain a prep, mill 4 cards. So there is some cool stuff going on. All right, I think this might be the last one. I was very upset you picked this one. This is I love this card. This card would have been my first
this
pick.
Is cool. Yeah, I was like, oh, I don't mind this. It says at the beginning of each opponent's recollection play phase, to your opponents, that player may banish a card with floating memory from their graveyard. If they don't, the next card they activate this turn costs 2 more to activate. It is targeted with 4 health, but it's a 3 cost. I put that down. You have no floating. your next turn, like going to turn, you have to pay 2 on your next play. Wild. Well,
Yeah.
I have to dealing 4 damage is already hard enough. Like if you've got no allies, or I play this, I don't know, first turn. I play this first turn. Your next first card, a 3-point is a 5-point ally, and it just sits there.
If you play it if you are going first and you play it turn 1, it doesn't work. But at the same time, I did find out you can't fireball this. You can't use any spells on it. You have to hit it.
Oh yeah, because it's going to be attacked. It's not going to be spelled. Right.
Yeah. So if you turn 1 this in a Star Wars shield, mate, it's pretty funny.
That's what I mean. Just like, and then even in the floating him area, and then I bring out that 0-cost card next turn which says like your graveyard, it means nothing. Like you cannot get floating memory.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah, you're right.
You are permanently stuck with 2 cost every turn.
And then you add
floating.
You add those negates we've been showing all this video, like the pay 2, pay 3, whatever. Like
you're not playing, man. You're not playing, bro.
Like, if I'm making you pay 5 for a limitless slime and I negate or draw 2, you're probably letting me draw 2, or you're just doing nothing, bro. Yeah, like, this card is crazy.
This is nuts. Like even
crazy.
if you like, say you're playing water, like you're talking about this fractal deck, like cool, you play these super expensive fractals, like that every turn you're gonna pay extra 2, man. Yeah.
Yep.
Like,
yeah, it's insane. The way you got to think about it as well is that like this card's no class bonus. It can go into any deck. Yep. It can go into the new EK deck people are trying to build with domains. It's a domain, so you can use it in EK to use as a resource. Yep. I did use this in my Waterdow chant against a Slimes player. The Slime player was miserable. He got to do nothing.
Stop it, man. Was he miserable because he couldn't play Baby Grey? What's he doing?
He had no float. He had no float. So it was like 4 for a Baby Grey, and then I like frozen dismissal it. And then it's like 5 for a limitless slime. It's like negate or draw 2. I draw 2. Negate or draw 2. Negate. And it's like just over at that point. Like, what are they doing? Like, nothing, right? So this card's very strong. I think that this will see if the meta goes into the control meta, like they're trying to push, this card will see a lot of play. There was a unique domain revealed today as a recording that was allies can't attack unless you pay 1. It's another unique domain. So imagine this card with allies have to pay 1 to attack. Like, what are you doing? Like, it might hit a point where
what are you doing, dude?
It might hit a point where raise the land, never seen play before, ever, by the way. Raise the land might see play, which is destroy a domain floating memory.
Yeah.
So that would be wild.
This is one I'd be cooking with. This sounds fun. Yeah, playing domains, playing these kind of like more and more domains that are making it more viable. We've seen. Is it Jimmy Lee is coming on my mind, but I don't think who's the guy who plays.
Jimmy Lee plays EK.
It's Jimmy Lee, right? Yeah, Jimmy Lee, like it's probably right now when he saw this card, like it was big handed. He's doing backflips. He's running down the street, dude. Like he's cooking, dude. Like I want to see Jimmy Lee right now try and cook something with this. There are so many domains coming out, and I'd love to see it. You know.
I definitely agree.
Wowie.
This is the last one here. This is a very good one too. So it's from the Recollection. Fractal of Refreshment, 3 cost, water. It is a Fantasia, but it can be played in any deck. Reservable, so you can pay costs with it. On enter, you may reveal up to 3 water element cards from your memory and put them on the bottom of your deck in any order, then draw that many cards into your memory. So if you even think of this in Nico right now, at any point you can play this, put 3 water cards down you don't like, send them to the bottom of your deck and draw 3 into your memory.
Yeah, perfect.
Like, and you're not even losing a card. It's a +0 because you can pay stuff for it. So it's like the fact that you can mold your deck with a card that doesn't let you lose anything is insane.
And then I fast play that temporal assassin skill, and you drew 3, and now
I have to mill,
you lost 12 cards.
I have to mill 20 cards. 20 cards. Yeah. So it's 8 plus 4. That's very true. That's very true. But you do that, I just reveal 0, right?
Yeah, well, good for you, man. That was some real fun.
Now, the thing that made...
tie my hands, man. Take my arm, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
the thing that made this good, and like revealing 3 and putting on the bottom is like cool, but sometimes you don't want 3. But looking closer at the card, it is reveal up to 3 water. So you can just get rid of 1 water card, and like you can just...
There's so many
you can just filter
where...
1, you can filter 2, you can filter 3, you know what I mean? So
There might be times in your deck where you've got water cards that are specific allies. I'm versing a mage. I've drawn 3 shitty. I'm not going to use them because they're not playing allies. I'm
Storm
going
of
to dump them.
Thorns.
It's a
Yep.
great way to cycle. Yep. Like I can cycle cards that I'm not going to use. I might have already played something. Boom. See you later. Right?
If you've already got the Xuchang domain on the field, it's a unique domain, and you got 2 in hand.
Yep.
Just get rid of them.
Get rid of them, mate.
So yeah, I think that's the reason why this one. Yeah, I think this is a good one too. Also in a recollection, so you're not going to have to buy it, which is great to see.
Yeah, you don't have to buy the recollection, by the way. So super cool. It's all free.
Recollection's free. Yeah. I mean, for what they're worth, they're very cheap, so it's very good. But yeah, that's pretty much
cool.
our 20 cards. What do you think of that, Mystery?
Dude, that was hella fun. We should do more of these. This is like good content.
Yeah, I think that we should maybe we should try and like add them in, play like a deck from these cards. Like not from all of them, obviously, but like pick an archetype and like play some of these cards in our next training ground, maybe.
I'll be playing Fire for no reason.
I want to play Fire Dao Chan. You played it last week. I get to play it this week. All right, you got to take turns.
I'm playing the Cinder ally one. What do you mean the Cinder flame?
Oh shit! Well, hey, into Fire Dao Chan, I have no allies, so you can frenzy nothing.
Exactly. You play it away, dude.
All right, guys. Well, if you like this video, like let us know. We're happy to do more. And if you have any other ideas, please let us know as well. We are Crave Shock. I'm Limelight, Mr. E. We will see you next time. Ciao, ciao.
Peace out, guys. Much love.
Peace.